time to talk about every booktuber's favorite thing, new books. Hello my lovely friends, it's Margaret. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you are new to the channel, 12 Days of Margaret is just a little thing I do every year starting on my birthday where I do most of my end of the year content, do a little bit of get to know me, all of that good stuff. Today we are going to be talking about my most anticipated releases for 2022. I don't have a lot, there's not a lot that I keep track of at the moment just because I throw stuff on my TBR list or interested list and then I'll get to it when I get to it or when someone starts talking about it. But there are a few that I've been kind of keeping my eye on that I'm like, I'm ready for this book to come out. It's usually either an author that I've already previously had a good experience with, or it's something that I have heard talked up by my friends. There's something about the plot that really intrigues me. This isn't going to be a really long list, but I do have 10 books that I would like to mention and to talk about today. A lot of these may end up being pushed to later in the year just because of the state of publishing and the paper shortage and all of that stuff that's going on. We're just going to talk about these and we're going to see when they'll come out when they come out. And I will still be there to sit down and buy them. Well, I won't be I will buy them and then I will sit down and read them, actually is how it's going to work. The first book that I wanted to mention is The Kindred by Alicia Dow. I have very little idea about what this is about. I know it's about a guy and a girl and he is rich from what I understand and she is not. She lives a pretty simple life, but she is kindred to him. I don't know what that means. I should mention it comes out January 4th, so like this coming Tuesday. It's coming out tomorrow, actually, from when you will be seeing this video. I have heard from a friend who has an arc of it that it has like vibes that seem to match Bellar. Brianna sent me a message going, do you know if Alicia Dow watches The 100? And I'm like, I don't know. But I want to read this book. I absolutely adored The Sound of Stars. I just loved how it was done. And so I cannot wait to read Kindred and see what else she brings to us. The next book we're going to be talking about comes out on January 28th, and that is The Red Palace by June Her. I really enjoyed The Silence of Bones, which is her debut novel. I thought she did a really good job in that novel of creating a historical Korea. Sure, her world building was so like well done. The ending made me a little sad, but like for the most part I was just like, you know what, I would be interested in anything else that June Her does. I have her Forest of Stolen Girls, which has an absolutely gorgeous cover, and I'm really interested in The Red Palace. From what I understand, is about a girl who's trying to prove the innocence of someone on, it's like another one where we're dealing with the police force in historical Joseon, which is what Korea was known as. It's dealing with the police force again and a girl that works with the police force, and she's trying to clear the name of someone that she cares about who works at the police force and is kind of caught up in this murder that has happened. The next book we're going to talk about comes out on February 1st, and that is This Woven Kingdom by Tahara Mafi. There's not a lot in the description of this, but it does say this is an epic romantic trilogy inspired by Persian mythology. There is a crown prince who appears to be falling in love with a servant. And if you don't know, like, royalty falling in love with servants or like thieves or the lower classes, just that's my jam. Oh, okay, I read this wrong. One of our main characters is the long-lost heir to an ancient Jin kingdom, and then we have the crown prince who is kind of concerned about these prophecies foretelling the death of his king. I'm assuming that would be his father? If he's the crown prince or like uncle or something. It says it is perfect for fans of Lee Bardugo, Tomoya Adeyemi, and Saba Tahir. So I read Shatter Me by Tahara Mafi and I enjoyed it, and then we got further into the trilogy, like I think I got to the second book and I wasn't really a big fan of where I saw the story going, so I just decided not to continue with it because that is who I am as a person. But I have a lot of like interest in some of her later work because I feel like that sounds like stuff that is going to be stuff that I can get invested in. That's going to be stuff that, especially like this one, it sounds like it's something that's right up my alley. I think this is actually an adult fantasy, and I'm trying to read more of that for reasons. And then coming out on February 15th, we have Age of Ash by Daniel Abraham. If you don't know, Daniel Abraham is one half of James S.A. Corey. It's Daniel Abraham and Ty Frank. I haven't seen anything coming out from Ty. But I would like to, I wouldn't be interested in looking at his books as well, but I heard this was coming out. It was like high chance that this is going to be up my alley. Apparently it follows Alice, and she is investigating the murder of her brother, who was a petty thief. Sounds a little bit like I'm getting Vin vibes from the first Mistborn book. Hopefully, Alice Will Not Hurt Me Like Finn Did. It is also the first in an adult fantasy series. It doesn't say whether or not this is going to be like a trilogy or anything. Again, not a lot put in the description of this. Y'all, maybe I'm just too used to YA descriptions, but I need more. I don't remember the things that I saw in the videos that made me go, oh, let's put this on my anticipated books list for this year. After that, on March 1st, we have Gallant by V.E. Schwab. If you don't know, Shades of Magic is one of my favorite series, like top favorite series. I love it. It is my favorite of V.E. Schwab's works, and Gallant sounds like it is going to be similar to that. It's another one where we are working with parallel worlds. It sounds like we've got a main character that she is called back to her home after having been sent away to boarding school for many years of her life, and she's come back and no one seems to have remembered sending for her, and then she ends up stumbling into this mirror world or something, alternate reality, where it's her home Gallant, but it's not. All I really needed to know was that it was from V.E. Schwab, and I knew I was going to check it out. Like, I don't always click with her books, but there is always a good chance I will. Who knows? She might hurt me with this one, she might not. After that, on April 5th, we have Witchlings by Claribel A. Ortega. This, I don't know much about. I just know that I liked Ghost Squad, and I know that it is about a girl that ends up in, like, a witch school. Like, I don't know names. I just know that she and like two other people who are like, it's like they're kind of this mismatched trio coven, and I think they have to, if they want to keep their magic, they have to actually be, I think they have to actually become a coven if they want to keep their magic or something like that. All I know is that there are a bunch of houses, and like one of the houses is like toad or frog or something, and Claribel likes putting like memes of that everywhere. So I can't wait to see what all of that means. I really enjoyed Ghost Squad. I thought it was a really good example of a middle grade book where there was a lot of big stuff happening and the main characters were having to do a lot of big things, but she found really believable reasons for why these 12-year-olds were the ones having to do the stuff versus the adults. Like, they did the thing, they got themselves into trouble, and unfortunately they were the only ones that could fix it. Because magic. Like, it made sense, and it didn't feel like a cop-out. Next we have coming out on March 3rd, Book of Night by Holly Black. Another author who has one of my favorite fantasy series of all time, and that is the Cruel Prince series, or Folk of the Air series, but we all call it the Cruel Prince trilogy. Like, you guys know what's up. This is about a con artist that's kind of trying, I guess she's trying to, it sounds like, lay low. She's working as a bartender, and she's trying to stay out of the magic business or magical world or all of that stuff, and then she ends up getting drawn into it as you do. Like, it just always happens. If you are trying to stay out of the magical world, you're going to be dragged into it for whatever reason it is going to be convenient to the plot, honestly. But, like, you're always going to end up dragged into it, so why resist? Long story short, she is dealing with doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, shadow thieves, and her own sister, all desperate to control the magic of the shadows. I'm excited. I really liked what I read in The Cruel Prince. It sounds like there's some promise for some of her other stuff. I can't wait to see what she's going to be doing with, I think it's just one book. I think it's a standalone. It looks like it's standalone, but I could be wrong. And the cover that they currently have, I don't know if it's the final cover, but it's really pretty. All right, and then moving on to a book coming out on May 17th is Once Upon a K-prom by Kat Cho. I loved Kat's Wicked Fox series. I read that this year. It was so good. I really, it just was good. I enjoyed it. I loved, like, it was such a good use of, like, the high school setting and a good use of the mythology that she chose to kind of go with, and the stories and all of that. And so she is now doing this kind of more contemporary, I guess, it sounds like there's no fantasy involved in this one, and I don't care. I think it's going to be interesting because it's about a girl who's, like, doesn't really care about prom, and then her former best friend, who is now a K-pop star, but she was also in love with when they were kids, shows up to ask her to prom, even though she's not interested in prom. I love the potential of this because we've got, like, childhood friends who've grown apart, who are going to end up falling in love with each other, because that's what happens in contemporary romances, and I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be really fun, and I'm really going to enjoy it. And she's also going to have to deal with hordes of screaming fans, online haters, and relentless paparazzi. Anyways, I think that this is going to be really interesting, and I'm going to enjoy the dynamics that are going to be in this. And that's all I got to say about this one. I'm excited to read it. I'll be there day it comes out to get it. All right, and the final two on this list are quite possibly my most anticipated releases of the year, which makes it really ironic that they are the last books that are going to be on this list because they come out in November 1st, which is not guaranteed at all because she has another book that's coming out this year very close to that, so one of them is probably going to get pushed. But Chain of Thorns by Cassandra Clare. This is the third book in the Last Hours series. I have loved the first two books, and I'm really just like, I am ready to get what Cassandra Clare has been promising me for 2 books. I'm ready to go there. I'm ready to be in this world again, and I'm ready to get some freaking closure and have the thing that I have been waiting for happen. I just, like, there's not much I have to tell you about this. It is Shadowhunters. It's set in, not Victorian, it's set in, like, early 1920s, 1910s, it's early 1900s, well, it's, like, set towards the turn of the century, I think. I can't really remember all that much, but we're definitely doing, yeah. So, anyways, long story short, these are some of my favorite characters, some of my favorite stories in this universe. Like, I loved Will and Tessa in The Infernal Devices. I am loving James and Cordelia and Lucy and Matthew and just all of the stuff that she is doing. I think this is her quite possibly most ambitious series to date. She has so many points of view. It's wild. I'm excited. I'm ready for it, and I cannot wait for this finally to be over and to know what happens and how things are going to happen. I mean, like, you know what's going to happen. It's a Cassandra Clare book. It's, like, obvious what's going to happen, but I can't wait to see how those things happen. And the final book on this list is Bloodmarked by Tracy Deonn. It is coming out November 8th. It's coming out November 8th, and I'm mad about it because the first book came out in January, but also 2020 and 2021 happened, so, like, I understand that it's going to take people longer to write books. This is the second book in the Legendborn series. I don't know, it may have a different name, but it's the sequel to Legendborn, which I absolutely adored. If you haven't, that's a spoiler. Never mind, we won't go there, but you'll see it maybe in a later video. You've already seen it in one video this time, or for these, you've already seen it in one of these end of the year videos. You're gonna see it in another one because I read it in January and it just stuck with me. I was just so blown away by that twist. I am ready for, like, all of the things I kind of predicted are going to happen over the course of the series to be happening here in this next book, or toward these next couple books. I'm not sure if it's a duology or if it's a trilogy, but I'm really excited to see what's going to happen, see what's going to go. There was some promise as far as relationships go, and I'm kind of into it, kind of ready to see where it goes, kind of ready to see which side of the ship thing that I end up falling on. We'll see. So those are my most anticipated books of 2022. If you are feeling chatty, go ahead and let me know what some of your most anticipated books of 2022 are going to be. I would love to take a look at them, see if I'm interested, maybe find some more books to put on this list. If you are not feeling chatty but you still want to let me know that you watched to the end of the video, go ahead and leave me a little star emoji. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you enjoyed this video, you may enjoy one of these videos as well. Go ahead, check them out. We'll see what else is over there. It'll be a surprise to both of us at this point. That is it for now, my friends. Happy reading, and I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye! Alright, what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait until I'm done with this video before you run out. You can die in 4 books.